What's up, everybody? It's Wako Taco Gaming. Hopefully all are doing pretty well. Now today I wanted to discuss the return of, I guess you could say, a fan favorite mode from Black Ops 2, which was more than a decade ago at this point, Grief. Yes, Grief has finally returned. And today I just wanted to discuss the good from the mode, the bad, the potential improvements, and just my overall opinions on the mode, because I do believe that there are both a lot of good and bad things about the mode, and ultimately I could see this becoming a staple of the game, but as of right now I just don't see that as in its current state. But let's just dive into this topic more and actually discuss this. Now, I didn't really want to be a negative Nancy about this game mode, and honestly the season as a whole, because I have been reading a lot online and most people aren't really satisfied with this game mode, and like I said, the season in general, and I didn't want to just be all negative here, so I want to discuss the positive first. And honestly, I do believe there is a lot to be happy about. Starting off with the fact that, well, it's the return of a fan favorite mode. It's clear that Treyarch was listening, and I'm glad that they decided to bring this back, because I actually really enjoyed playing Grief in Black Ops 2. But, I don't know, I guess you guys, leave it in the comments. Did you guys enjoy Grief 2? But, to me, that's a very good thing that they're listening, and that they wanted to bring back an old game mode. And it's polished. It's more polished than it was in Black Ops 2, which is obviously a good thing. But that's, like, probably my biggest point in the good section. And, you know, diving more into that, I just thought that the original was very, very bare bones in comparison. And I guess some people can argue that that's a good thing, that it was just very simplistic. But to me, the new version feels like it has so much more potential to have more meat on the bone. But, like I said, Black Ops 2 was just the bone. Black Ops 6 just added some raw meat on it. And, like I said earlier, I do believe that this raw meat has potential to be cooked even further. I might be the only person to have ever said this too, but for me, I actually really do enjoy the bite-sized version of all of these maps, which, by the way, all 5 maps are available, and I believe each one has 2 to 3 different versions that you can play, just smaller sections of said map. And these are actually really enjoyable, and they work well with the mode. And I believe that this can open the door to other potential game modes. Like, imagine if we saw the return of Turned. That would honestly be dope. I love Turned in Black Ops 6. And even the potential for further party game modes. This is a nice expansion in my opinion. And the last thing that I thought was honestly very positive about this game mode was the Gobblegums and Augments. Now, I did see a lot of people complain about this, which I did think was pretty interesting, but by adding this, I believe that there's more variety into the game, and none of them are so broken that they instantly have one team win or the other. You know what I'm saying? But I guess it does come at the cost of making the game very easy, which is something I did want to discuss as we go into the bad now, because matches just simply take way too long. The game is not hard enough, which I guess directly contradicts what I just said about the Gobblegums and the Augments, right? But it's not challenging enough. Maybe they need to introduce something like no Juggernog past round 30 or something. I don't know. But to me, it's just so easy. There's not enough zombies for the 8 players that are on the map, or for the potential for 8 players. I honestly don't know what it is, but it's so easy. And something that definitely makes this entire game mode, I think, too easy is that the Grief quote-unquote challenges are too ridiculous of a task. Like, for me, I can't believe that you have to start the game off with, like, getting melee kills for zombies. I think it's ridiculous that the game expects you to focus on upgrading your melee weapon to start, or getting melee macchiato to start, and then getting melee kills just to complete the Grief challenge. And the Grief challenges are not punishing enough, other than Weapon Carousel. That's the only one where you see it and you're like, oh crap, I'm gonna lose my weapon if we don't complete this, so you gotta rally your team, right? But the other ones where you just get more zombies after you, or you just walk slower or run slower, they're honestly not challenging enough. They don't punish your team enough. There's almost no incentive to complete the stupid challenges that put your team more at risk in the first place. So I do believe that the Grief challenges need to be reworked in some way. And then lastly, I just think that solo is at times hardly playable, because you just have way too many of your own teammates quitting on you. Now, this does tie back to, I guess, because the games last so long, but it's just ridiculous when your teammates quit on you. I honestly do think that there should be a penalty for this. Maybe not something big, maybe just like 15 minutes where you can't play, but there's definitely should be something, because it just sucks when you're the only one playing, or when it's you and another guy against a full team of 4 because you're playing solo and you don't have a pre-made team. Now, like I said multiple times, you know, earlier on, I didn't want to be super negative about it, so that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about in the negatives, for the negative part. But I did want to talk about the potential improvements, because like I said, I do believe that this game mode has a lot of potential. It was honestly really enjoyable for me in Black Ops 2. So seeing it come back and with even more potential just makes me excited for the future. And I wanted to start off with wonder weapons. Now I do understand why they weren't included. Obviously the power imbalance is just too unfair. Imagine one team gets the jet gun or the ray gun. They're just too strong, and I understand that. But I do kind of wish that there was a way they were included. Maybe as a quick power up, maybe as a punishment, although I don't know if that would be a punishment. Maybe as a reward for completing the task where your whole team gets like jet guns and the zombies only chase the other team. Or some crap like that, just so you can have wonder weapons included. Because honestly, the wonder weapons are dope. Secondly, I think that voice chat, or proximity chat to be more, I guess, precise with this, should have been included in this game mode. Imagine you just have, your team and then the other team just trash talking and all this other stuff. I think that would actually be a lot of fun. So voice chat with the other team should have been an option, or proximity chat at the very least. But this should definitely be added. And then maybe some more fleshing out to the game in general. What I mean by this is, like, imagine having a grief match with, like, no Juggernog, like I said earlier, so that it's a specific challenges, or you add specific challenges to the mode, like maybe no field upgrades, or maybe you do a grief match in the boss fight, so you got to deal with the boss fight and the other team, or maybe a grief match with no quick revive, or no revives in general, just some other crap, some other thing to keep it fresh, maybe they add these things like every week. I think that would be pretty enjoyable. And then the last thing, I can't believe this isn't a feature to begin with, considering Black Ops 2 had this, and that came out in what, like 2012, is that you need to be able to play this in private matches. I cannot believe it's 2025, and you cannot play this in a private match. It's ridiculous that you cannot do a custom 4 versus 4. If you want to play Grief with more than 4 people, too bad. You're out of luck. You cannot do this. You cannot set up your own custom 2v2 or 1v1 or nothing like that. The most you can do is play in a party of 4 against another party of 4 that you cannot have pre-made. So why? I don't know. It's stupid. This shouldn't be like that in the first place. You should have always been able to make your private matches. Like I said, Black Ops 2 had that feature. It's ridiculous that Black Ops 6 doesn't have this. Well, alright everybody, that's pretty much going to conclude this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this because, like I said, I have heard a lot of negative things about this. So I would like to hear your guys' perspective, both the good and the bad, and like I said, potential improvements. But I do want to see this mode continue to blossom in the future. But for now, I'll catch you guys soon. Peace.